This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Tonight, the homestand continues, and it's game number 1 of an all-important series. Game 1 of 4, the LA Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals. Jim Hayes is here. That's Tim McCarver. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. The offense has a great challenge tonight, Tim, as they will face one of the great lefties in the history of the game. That's Clayton Kershaw.
That's the reputation he already has. Only 30 years old, a modest 7-5 record this year, but throughout his career, you can compare him with the ranks of, yes, Sandy Koufax, and we'll talk about that during the game tonight.
Winning percentage second best, strikeouts per 9, and the opponent's average only at 207. Amazing numbers for the lefty. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are getting healthier. Jed Jerko back, and so is Yadier Molina. Returns to the lineup for the first time since September 5th. Mike Schilt and the Cardinals put Molina through some tests this afternoon, and he is good to go. The Cardinals at times, the most important times, have gotten to Clayton Kershaw. Over at the studio, they talk about Matt Adams and others getting to the lefty when we come back. moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by Steel Outdoor Power Equipment. Pick your power, fuel, or battery with Steel. Search STIHL. Game 1 of 4. Kershaw on the mound for the Dodgers. Austin Gomber for the St. Louis Cardinals. All-important series for the wild card. Baseball coming up. That'll be to start the ninth for St. Louis. Diving stop by Wong. He's thrown to first. Oh, he got him! It might be the play of the year by Colton Wong. And he strikes out the side. The Cardinals have a sweep. What a fun series that was, and now it kicks off a 4-game set. Here in the Gateway City, Busch Stadium, the scene. It's 85 degrees. Along with Tim McCarver, I'm Dan McLaughlin, and Jim Hayes is with us as well. And Tim, the Cardinals, they find themselves 2 games in front of the Dodgers for that final wild card spot. So you get the idea. It's an important start for Austin Gomber.
And the key thing for this young ball club is to pay attention to what you're doing right now and don't look ahead. Now is very important. With what, 16 games left to play?
16 to go for the Cardinals. 10 of those are at Busch Stadium. Taylor, Turner, Machado, followed by our old buddy David Freese, traded at the deadline from Pittsburgh. He's batting cleanup. Then Matt Kemp, Brian Dozier, Enrique Hernandez, Austin Barnes, and the pitcher batting ninth, Clayton Kershaw. Chris Taylor, 6 leadoff home runs as a Dodger. That's tied for 4th all-time in Dodger history with Todd Hollandsworth for a single season.
The all-time Dodger record in strikeouts is 170. And Chris Taylor has 165, and he's leading off.
First pitch by Gomber. Take it for a ball. And we're underway here in game 1. Hyundai pitch arsenal, the fastball, very good curve. It's also mixed in a cutter, so that allows him to get on both sides of the plate.
Very important for him to stay ahead tonight, as it is always for pitchers, but particularly against the Dodgers because they take a lot early in the count. Falling behind Taylor right here.
Taylor has shown he can play the infield and center field. He's in left though tonight, 3-0. It's also important for Austin Gomber. At times he's shown that walks can lead to him being taken out of a game early. There it is, 3-1 and a strike. At the back end of that, Yadier Molina, good for the Cardinals to see him back healthy enough to play and in the lineup tonight. The 3-1 pitch. Ground ball and a base hit into left. Leadoff hit by Taylor. Milwaukee 84-63, 2.5 in front of the St. Louis Cardinals. They're 81-65. And then the Dodgers 79-67. They trail the Cardinals by 2 games.
Cubs in a makeup game today are tied with the Nationals 3-3. That game in the top of the 9th.
And now Justin Turner, the third baseman, who's hitting .311. So many teams passed up on Justin Turner, and he has found a home with the Dodgers.
Boy, has he ever.
Good player.
In this day of all the metrics and everything, how can that many teams turn down looking at and hiring a terrific third baseman? That's what Justin Turner has been for the last 3 years for the Dodgers.
And the 0-1 is hit out of play, 0-2. Was a bit player with the Mets, as you recall, and then at that point New York said goodbye to him, and as we talked about, anybody could have had him. Goes back home to California, and the Dodgers are thankful he has been, when healthy, their most consistent player.
Absolutely.
Hitting .374 since the All-Star break, and that's best in baseball. 0-2 hit down the right field line, slicing foul and out of play. The youth of the Cardinals rotation, and what a spot here for Austin Gomber. Obviously a big game for both teams, but you go head to head with Clayton Kershaw. Yesterday, Ponce de Leon. We've seen Miles Michaelis this homestand. He had a terrific start.
Thing about Austin, he does not have a double play ball. He doesn't have a ball like a cross seamer that goes down in the strike zone where guys hit on top of it.
0-2 pitch. Hit the dirt and kept in front by Molina. Legs look pretty good right there by Yadier.
Pounced on that ball in front of the plate very well. And of course the Cardinals have, as you said, Dan, put him through a lot of drills today, and he is ready to go. Reason he missed that many games, a strained left hamstring.
And the 1-2 pitch now to Turner. As you pointed out right before our first pitch off the air, not to be overlooked, the return of Jed Jerko. He's been dealing with a sore groin, and he told Jim Hayes that if it wasn't at 100%, he was not going to come back and try to push it, then re-injure it. So hopefully he stays healthy for the Cardinals in this stretch run. It's been a buzz here at the ballpark. We got here early, and excitement in downtown. The 1-2 pitch, and a fly ball into shallow right. Over Martinez with the catch.
Good positioning by Martinez as Turner kept hitting balls to right field. Jose kept moving toward the right field line to make a relatively easy play out of that ball.
The Cardinals defensively around the horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Ozuna, Bader, and Martinez in the outfield. Jerko, DeYoung, Munoz, and Carpenter along the infield, and Yadier Molina, he's behind the plate. So we saw him with that block, pounced on the ball, seems to be all right. That's good news. Here's Manny Machado, picked up from Baltimore near the trade deadline. Matter of fact, over the All-Star break. 33 home runs combined. Now he's grounded into 20 double plays, fourth most in baseball. Something to keep in mind here. Machado a free agent to be. Bryce Harper. Some pretty big names and probably some pretty big numbers. Here's a 1-0. That's it out of play.
That's a good sign. The right-handed batter's hitting balls back the other way over the first base side of the diamond. Always a good sign and indicative of a pitcher who's throwing an extra yard or two faster.
Dodgers coming off a series, and he did go, in which they dropped 2 of 3 against the Cincinnati Reds.
How about that? 1-6 against Cincinnati this year.
And they can't find a way to get Scooter Gennett out. It was unbelievable, his numbers against the Dodgers this year. He went 16 for 22.
Oh my gosh.
16 for 22.
Of course the Cardinals have faced that too.
Yeah.
Trying to get Gennett out.
And the 1-2 is lined into center field. 2 hits in the inning, and it brings in David Freese, and I'm sure it'll be a big ovation.
Batting fourth, number 25, first baseman David Freese.
He tried to prevent Yadier Molina from going out in front of home plate with his bat. He tried to stop him. These folks never forget 2011.
Never will.
No.
Happens every time he comes back, whether it was with Pittsburgh or now with the Dodgers. And you could see as he was going to the plate with Yadi, as if he was saying, please don't do that again. Just let me play the game. And the ball gets through, and runners at second and third.
A catcher always will try to go down with the breaking ball, but a fastball in the dirt, he's got to try to glove it. Molina trying to glove that one. A wild pitch by Gomber.
We know David loves to go the other way, and there's some hitting lanes that side. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Obviously, it makes a lot of sense. If a guy tries to go the other way, you want to pitch him inside if you can. Kind of pitch him like Turner, who eventually flied out to right field.
The 1-0 pitch. 1-2.
Good cut fastball from Gomber. Gomber appears to be on top of his game as far as speed is concerned tonight.
Outfield is straight away, and now Bader moving a little bit towards right center. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Freese hits it the other way down the right field line and out of play. And a nice play made by a fan down that right field line.
It's not catching the ball, it's telling your wife or good friend how you did it.
And yes, it does hurt my hand right now. A ball and 2 strikes on David Freese. Big gap in left center. Little check swing and a foul ball. This is one of the pickups at the deadline that went unnoticed, kind of under the radar here in St. Louis. We pay attention to David Freese and how he's doing and what's happening with his career. But across baseball, this was really a quiet pickup. Freese going to the Dodgers. He's gone to the opposite field 28 times for a base hit this year. Popped up. Carpenter will give chase, and it's out of play.
It's almost exactly like Justin Turner's at bat, though. In with fastballs, foul balls away. Now Turner fouled it to Martinez in foul territory. As a result, both Bader and Martinez a little closer to the line because of that.
We were talking about those foul balls from right-handed hitters going to the right side. There have been 7 of those against Gomber already.
Wow.
And it's another 1-2 pitch to David Freese. 2-2.
Crowd just welcomed David Freese, and now they're booing, not booing him, but booing the call from home plate umpire Quinn Walcott.
David, we love you, but have a seat. That's what they're thinking. The 2-2 pitch. But you're right about that point of right-handed batters just not catching up, so maybe some late life. The good fastball here by Austin Gomber. Ninth pitch of the at bat coming up, and pitch number 24 of the inning.
Pretty good changeup right there after all those fastballs. Changeup tap foul.
Lefties, righties, what David has done this season, primarily as a bench player too, not playing every day. The 2-2. Full count. And Matt Kemp at the on deck circle. It's a very much an unforgiving lineup the Dodgers have. It is loaded with stars and talent. (3-2) by Gomber to Freese. Got him to reach, and a foul ball.
Just foul. Three-two changeups had, or changeup had Freese out in front.
This will be the 12th pitch of this at bat coming up. Good battle here with Gomber and Freese in the top of the first. Fouled back again. It's been interesting. We know David going to right field, fouling balls off that way. Carpenter's actually moved in a step or two at first base, as well as Munoz. He starts out deep. There's been a couple of times he's been on the infield grass. His time is called by Molina. He's fouled off 8 pitches in this plate appearance. 3-2. Spoiled again and make it 9. Well, if anything, he's gotten the pitch count up here in the first inning. Cardinals have been cautious with these young pitchers, and they've said there's no limits on innings or pitches in games, but you know they're going to be careful. Just the way it is. Pitch number 29 of the inning. 3-2 again. Freeze rips it fair. Couple of runs will come in to score. 2-0 Dodgers on a terrific at bat by Freeze. The ball gets away from Ozuna. The throw into third is not in time, and the Dodgers have an early lead.
Well, was that a poor play by Ozuna in left field? Machado scores easily, but that ball rattling around out there in left field. It should be an error. A double for Freeze, 2 RBIs, an error allowing him to go to third base. It's a key play. With 1 out, I mean, no way that ball should allow Freeze to get to third base. How can that be a triple?
So ruled a triple, a 14-pitch at bat by David Freeze.
Big difference in a guy at third base with 1 out and a guy at second with 1 out.
Here's Matt Kemp. 346 the average with runners in scoring position, 4th best in the National League. And the infield in for the Cardinals with 1 out. Strike 1. And the 0-1. Kemp, a fly ball into shallow right center. And it drops in for a hit. 3-0 Dodgers. Fought it off, and the Dodgers have 4 first-inning hits and 3 runs.
Sometimes you just can't prevent a ball landing where nobody is on the defense. Martinez very deep. Kind of a broken bat, if that. Great at bat by Freeze and a broken bat by Kemp makes it 3-0. So,
and if it's not misplayed or at least turned into a triple, David Freeze on that ball is probably maybe a third away from second base to make sure that that ball is not caught.
Yeah.
And so you'd have runners at first and third. In a 2-0 game instead of 3-0 and a runner at first. Double play ball, 6-4-3 on the double play off the bat of Dozier. A 3-spot put up against Austin Gomber. Kershaw to the mound when we come back. The Cardinals, and he's been given a 3-0 lead. Carpenter, Munoz, and Martinez, the Cardinal lineup. Then Ozuna, DeYoung, and Jerko. Molina, Bader, and Gumber. All right, Tim, let me give you some numbers here on Clayton Kershaw. First of all, 7-5 on the year. When he has been given a 3-run or more lead, which is the case right now, Clayton Kershaw is 113-4. 113-4.
Well, let's go home.
I'm just giving you the numbers, baby. Just relax. We got a long ways to go.
I am relaxed.
I can tell. The Hyundai pitch arsenal: slider, fastball, and curve.
That is staggering. 114. This is obviously for his career, not for 1 year.
No, just for his career. There have been some epic battles between Carpenter and Kershaw in postseason play. One of those highlighted on our pregame show, where Matt sat down and went pitch by pitch against Clayton Kershaw. And Carpenter's gotten the best of him at times.
Well, certainly the postseason, Clayton Kershaw 0-4 facing the Cardinals. 5 starts.
I'm still amazed the Dodgers did not win with Kershaw and Greinke together in their rotation. Two guys, same time, primes of their career, the tops of their profession. But it never happened. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Carpenter. Lifts it in the air, shallow right center, and a base hit. Falls in front of Hernandez. Carpenter's now 10 for 36 with a homer regular season play against Clayton Kershaw. That curveball stroked into center field, and now Jairo Munoz. Munoz got the start at short yesterday afternoon, and tonight he's at second base. Fly ball out to deep right. Kemp going back over his head, off the wall, and off the 375 sign. Carpenter held up at third, runners at second and third, and nobody out. Just for clarification, for fans that don't know, it hit off the wall on a fly and into the glove of the right fielder Matt Kemp. And the way you have to think about it is that the wall is an extension of the ground. So if the ball hit the ground, obviously it's a base hit, and that's the case here.
That's well put, partner. Nice going. And Jose Oquendo holding up Matt Carpenter, who's not a fast runner, and there's nobody out, and you're trailing by 3 runs. So consequently, you got to play them 1 base at a time. But the Cardinals have had tough times with these situations.
Runners at second and third, and a strike to Jose Martinez.
5 runners stranded at third base yesterday against the Pirates with less than 2 outs.
It's a game of missed opportunities. And the 0-1. First meeting between these two, Kershaw and Jose Martinez. One and two. Kia in the driver's seats. Jose Martinez and the Cardinals since August 1st at home, and Jose with a .407 average, 7 runs batted in, and he scored 9. Our Kia drive to success.
One thing with 2 strikes, Martinez has been vulnerable to the breaking ball in the ground.
2-2. To further your point about yesterday and as it pertains to tonight, with a guy like Kershaw, you have to get at least a run here.
No.
You have to. Get on the board. Get something going. The 2-2. Let's turn to Tim McCarver's Toyota key to the game.
Well, I'll be brief. Obviously, the Cardinals have to take care of business immediately and don't look forward too far ahead. You know, if Jose Martinez isn't picking the ball up with 2 strikes, but he's been a different hitter over the last 5 weeks.
1 out and 2 on, and here's Ozuna. Hits it on a hop to second. That's Dozier. He'll make the play. A run scores to make it 3-1. A look at the Dodgers defensively. Around the horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Taylor, Hernandez, and Kemp in the outfield. Turner, Machado, Dozier, and Freeze along the infield. Austin Barnes, versatile player, can play second base and catch. He's catching tonight. For Carpenter, by the way, that was his 100th run scored. 3rd time he's done that in his career. Here's Paul DeYoung. Strike 1.
Sounds like the likes of Craig Biggio. Catcher and second base. Unusual tandem. That's Austin Barnes.
Thinking about it in LA, that's the guy I came up with.
Yeah, yeah.
A ball and a strike on DeYoung. He came up in the 9th inning yesterday with that runner at 3rd, less than 2 outs, and struck out. Then Carpenter struck out looking, and Vasquez threw 36 pitches to get a 6-out save. One and 2. Those 3 games in LA and that sweep by the Cardinals, all 3 were tight ball games. Cardinals had some dramatic wins off the closer Kenley Jansen, who was just off the DL. Kept in front again by Barnes. 2 and 2.
That was a good play. That's that fastball in the dirt we were talking about with Molina. Those are the toughest balls to block because you're not anticipating fastballs being in the dirt.
The Cubs pick up a run, 4-3 now in the bottom of the 10th in Washington. A 2-2. Struck him out. 2 strikeouts in the inning. The Cardinals get a ground out and a run batted in by Ozuna. Get on the board against Kershaw. It's 3-1.
Mike Schilt told me that Yadi went through his progressions before the game and checked out fine. Schilt saying that Yadi might be a little limited in terms of his running, but no issues behind the plate or hitting. Schilt told me Yadi's not going to be super aggressive going from first to third or try to sneak a stolen base. As for getting him back, Schilt told me this: they haven't invented a metric that can put an accurate value on Yadi and what he brings behind the plate. He is the smartest player I've ever seen. And Dan Schilt says when Yadi says he's ready, you listen.
So he's back in there tonight. How about an update, Jimmy, on Jed Jerko? He's also back in the starting lineup. We saw him pinch hit in the ball game yesterday.
Yeah, he was activated yesterday and said that that groin issue was 100%. Jed said no limitations. He said, I wouldn't be out here at this point in the season. You don't need a guy out here limping around. So Jed says he's fine.
All right, Jimmy, thank you. That pitch popped up and fouled near the Cardinal dugout by Kiki Hernandez. It's a 33 pitch first inning for Gomber.
Not a lot you can do when a guy like David Freese keeps fouling one ball. What do you have, 9 foul balls, 13 pitches?
14 pitches.
14.
But you get the idea. And the 3-2 pitch.
Talked about this the last time Gomber pitched in Detroit in that first game, about him taking the ball out of the glove as opposed to bringing the glove to his left shoulder and throwing the ball. That gives a pitcher, it's nothing that he can correct right now, but next spring I would imagine. See how he takes the ball out of the glove, hooks it behind his, and it's an easy way for the opposition to pick up a pitch. But the big thing is it does not. Big problem is that the fastball isn't as fast as it should be.
0-2 the count here on Austin Barnes after the walk to Kike Hernandez. Barnes, the 8th place hitter, with Kershaw to follow. And the 0-2, he struck him out. First strikeout of the night for Gomber.
And a good curveball.
Tim, that's the pitch that many know him by coming through the minor leagues. His rise, very, very good breaking ball. There was.
Came from nowhere to get Barnes, and now the Cardinals are looking for the bunt, of course.
Kershaw batting .225, no home runs, has driven in 4. Way up in the batter's box. Gets the bunt down. Gomber to second, fires a strike, and they'll get the lead man as DeYoung put it in his back pocket. Manager Dream Team in franchise mode, plus get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 available now. Learn more at RBIGame.com. Rated E for everyone.
That throw to second base might be the best fastball Gomber's had tonight. I mean, he uncorked that baby.
So they get the lead man, Kike Hernandez. And Kershaw will be running the bag from the bag at first, and Chris Taylor now at the top of the lineup. Gets the call on a high strike. Taylor singled to left and scored back in inning number 1. And the curveball hit in the air out to right field. Martinez with the catch. Jerko, Molina, Bader coming up in a 3-1 ball game. Without cancer at Pedal the Cause, September 29th and 30th. Donate at pedalthecause.org/blues. Many would not know this, but St. Louis, the chess capital of the United States.
Get out of here.
Singfield Cup, one of the strongest chess tournaments in the world, just wrapped up at the end of August. There was over 1.5 million impressions in social media to show the city of St. Louis, all because of chess. And beginning at 1 tomorrow, final round of the Champion Showdown wraps up at the St. Louis Chess Club. And 10 of the world's top players, including a world champion, will be there. You can find out more at stlouischessclub.org. But very cool. The Singfield Cup, the capital of chess. Many believe maybe in the world, and all the top players are in St. Louis for the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Realize that those last 2 guys, they knew what they were doing, man.
Speed chess, that's right.
That's speed chess. My gosh. Makes you feel dumb.
They're unbelievable. I've walked through it. It's amazing. stlouischessclub.org. As Jerko taps it foul. A 3-1 ball game. But you wouldn't realize something like chess to give the exposure that it's gotten for not only those that play it, but the city of St. Louis to show it off.
From what I know about the Cardinals, Jed Jerko is the best chess player on the team.
Agreed. Aledmus Diaz, my understanding, was a little bit better than Jed, but now he's in Toronto. So I think Jed is now the guy that most consider the best on the team.
Ledmus got a big hit for the Blue Jays last week, a double with runners on at first and second to clear the bases. Game won by the Blue Jays, who are picking it up here of late.
And
it's
Chicago,
too late to contend for a postseason berth, but
the Cubs hold on 4-3 against Washington. That's now a final. 3-2 the count on Jed Jerko. And the 3-2 pitch. Pulled foul. A strikeout of Jerko. 3 tonight for Clayton Kershaw. What is it about Kershaw, Tim, as you've watched him over the years? Why is he elite? What makes him as good as all the numbers bear out?
Well, when he broke into the major leagues, he had a fastball and curveball. Rick Honeycutt, their pitching coach, taught him a slider when Joe Torre was there, and Joe Torre has told me that that slider made the difference, not in getting guys out, but making Clayton's fastball and curveball that much better, because the right-handed hitters in particular had to look for another pitch. Rick Honeycutt, in his 13th season with the Dodgers, one of the best pitching coaches around.
Pitched briefly here in St. Louis under Tony La Russa.
Talk about a solid professional in every way.
And the 2-0. Inside, 3 balls and no strikes. Clayton has that unique delivery too. Probably one you wouldn't see many teach, but it's obviously worked for him. And it's a 1-out walk. Lowe's whole team together, the Cardinals' remaining opponents, the regular season. LA right here. Head to Atlanta for 3, San Francisco, then Milwaukee, and wrap it up at Wrigley Field in Chicago. So if they get in, they're going to have to earn it. Majority of the games at home, but good opponents coming up. .16 to play in a 2-game lead. Harrison Bader at the plate. And a strike. Cardinals did not see Kershaw on the trip out west. He hasn't pitched here since 2014. As Bader pops it foul and out of play. He has had, as great as he's been, some crushing defeats handed to him by the Cardinals. The Matt Adams home run stands out.
Never beaten the Cardinals in a postseason game. 0-4 in 5 starts.
And the 0-2 outside corner struck him out for number 4. Memorable moment here at this ballpark. 2014 game 4, and Matt Adams, a crushing blow. Kershaw's reaction would say it all. He was bent over, hands on his knees, head down. Incredible moment. Gomber out to left and a base hit. I didn't see that coming.
I don't think anybody did. After 4 strikeouts through the first 8 hitters, Austin Gomber with a liner to left.
Come on, Tim, you're the analyst. You're supposed to predict these things. Of course Gomber's going to get a hit.
Of course. I knew that. It's going to be tough to score. Yadier Molina from second base.
Good point, yeah.
If you're Matt Carpenter, not only a base hit, but you don't want 2 base hits to have to scoring.
I found out something about Matt Carpenter that I did not know the other day in our speaker series. His first roommate in pro ball is the first base coach, Ali Marmol.
How about that?
Teammates and roommates.
I'll be. Playing with Johnson City at the time?
I think that's what it was. I said to Ali, I said, did you have any idea that Carpenter was going to be this type of player? And he said, absolutely not.
Oh, of course not.
He said, you know, I knew he could hit. He said the thing that he's done is an understanding of his swing and the maturation of power and what he wants to do to a pitcher and vice versa.
I heard you telling Ricky Horton about the batting gloves. He couldn't afford them.
Couldn't afford
right?
them. Ali saying when he first saw Matt, it was a lot of base hits to left and little flares. And then all of a sudden, John Mabry, to his credit, Mark McGuire, hitting coaches here, Mark Budaska in the minor leagues, said, hey, man, let it rip. But a lot of that for base hits.
Great stories.
And for those who didn't hear it yesterday, signed for $1,000. Said after taxes I had 600. I bought spikes. They lasted me the year. After that, I thought batting gloves, that's really not a necessity. I need a little money to eat.
Yeah, for those who may not know, once you get established, they take care of your spikes. But until you get established, you have to buy your own spikes. It's the only part of that, and undergarments, of course, the only parts of the uniform that players.
Strikeout of Carpenter, chased a pitch. 3 strikeouts in the inning, 5 through 2 for Kershaw. Season at the ballpark. Cardinals take on the Giants. That's September 22nd. 30,000 fans 16 and older receive a Cardinals hooded sweatshirt presented by Modern Agriculture, supported by Bayer. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Beautiful night here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. (3-1) our score as we move to the third. 2, 3, and 4 in the lineup for the Dodgers. Dave Roberts, the manager of the LA Dodgers, guiding them to 1 win away from the world title a year ago, losing at home in Game 7 to Houston in really an epic World Series. It's
really
terrific.
Was. The Dodgers have not won a World Series since 1988, 30 years. We just saw one of the reasons in Detroit, right? Kirk Gibson.
And a 1-0 pitch. Lifted out to deep left center. Ozuna back at the wall, and he can't come up with it. Had it in the glove. Bounced up against the wall. And it winds up a double for Justin Turner.
Couldn't really see whether Ozuna had that ball cleanly in his glove. A better look right here. Yeah, it looked like he had it cleanly in his glove. Then hit the wall, and that may have knocked it out.
Sure did.
Yep. Harrison Bader, of course, backing up on a play. You never have to worry about that with Harrison Bader. Him backing up a play. Where he needs to be, he always is.
Manny Machado at the plate. Fair ball inside that first base line. That'll score Turner easily, and Machado into second base to make it 4-1.
RBI and a run scored so far for the fancy hitting shortstop Manny Machado. All he's doing is counting the days before he counts his money.
Now David Freese, and maybe the at bat of the night.
Great at bat, no
14
question.
pitches, wound up being ruled a triple.
Fair point.
It's just got to wear you out. I mean, I know it's early, but boy, you just come at Freese and you show him everything. You make good pitches, foul ball after foul ball, and he winds up with a triple. That would score 2 to get the Dodgers on the board back in the first. Going back to Dave Roberts for a moment, but one of the most famous stolen bases in the history of the game. With the
whole world knew he was running too.
Came in as a pinch runner for Boston, down 3 games to none. Stole a base. Billy Miller brought him in, and the Red Sox in 04 had life, as we found out very shortly in St. Louis.
Nobody could have beaten the Red Sox after coming back against the Yankees. That made it 3 games to 1, and then the Red Sox beat the Yankees the next 3 games, and then of course went to St. Louis and swept the Cardinals in the World Series, and nobody in history could have beaten that team once they came back against the vaunted Yankees. Only time it's ever been done. Down 3 games to none, and then win 4 in a row. Ever been done in baseball. Been done in hockey, I think, twice.
3-2 the count. David Freese, we know he's a clutch player. His average this year, runners on base, 332. Fouled back. Cardinals trade away Jim Edmonds, fan favorite, now a Cardinal Hall of Famer, and guy that comes back. Heard he's from St. Louis. This guy David Freese. What a run here in town. And this time he strikes out, so Gomber comes back to get David Freese.
Looked like a changeup, Danny. Right on the corner. David thought it was outside, but a good pitch by Gomber. Runner staying at second base. Might have been low.
Second strikeout for Gomber. Here's Matt Kemp with an RBI single his first time up. So with the win in Washington in that makeup game, the Cubs now a game and a half in front of Milwaukee, 4 in front of St. Louis. And Molina wants to visit here. One our score with 1 out.
Emptied your digital wallet? We understand. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
Dodgers have talked about that Kemp came back into 2018 in much better shape. He's hitting line drives all over the place, and some of those have turned into home runs. He's got 19 on the year, 77 runs batted in. All-star this season for LA.
Dodgers are an awfully tough club against left-handed pitching.
Here's a 1-1. Missed in. Nice crowd tonight. We anticipate very big crowds Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Reminder that Sunday, if you have a ticket, that is Sunday Night Baseball. We have this game for you and tomorrow night, and we'll turn it over to the networks on Saturday and Sunday. Ground ball hit sharply to DeYoung, and there's 2 away. There's Brian Dozier, grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. He was picked up from Minnesota.
Suffered through a 0 for 25 slump last week. Got out of it with a double in Cincinnati, a team that the Dodgers were 1-6 against this year.
What are your thoughts, Tim, on collecting the talent the Dodgers have, but doing it, getting Dozier, getting Machado, picking up Freese, all in their lineup tonight, and trying to find, cohesion?
It's tough to find. Baseball is not a team game,
and that's what I was going to ask you about.
That's the whole thing. Baseball is a very selfish game, and it's designed that way. You may inadvertently hit a ground ball to the right side with the runner on at second base, but you don't see that done intentionally anymore.
It's popped up, and Carpenter gives it a look out of play.
Baseball's always been a selfish game. We've talked about it before, about these players that say, I just want to help my team win. No, they don't. None of them that say that ever want to help them. They want to do it for themselves. It's natural. And a pitcher wants to win the game for himself. It would be so refreshing in my mind to see a guy come out and say, I'm glad I had 4 hits tonight because I want a bigger contract next year. Wouldn't that be refreshing?
It would be.
Yeah. Instead of this, I just want to help my team win. Please don't say that anymore.
Us as a team have a great broadcast. So you don't believe in that either?
No. No, you do. You do.
Oh,
but
so
you want
okay.
to do well, too. If either of us does poorly, you hope it's me and not you. I mean, come on. We got to fess up to these things.
The swing and a miss. Gomber just trying to help his team win and count down the days. 4-1 Dodgers. St. Louis Cardinals baseball brought to you by St. Louis Children's Hospital and Washington University Physicians, Guardians of Childhood. And try something different like Jack's Teriyaki Bowls, only at Jack in the Box for a limited time. Nightfall nearly upon us. It's 4-1. The Dodgers with the lead.
One thing that's been settled by the Cardinals this year is the emergence of Jairo Munoz. They found out this guy could play better than they thought. What a player he has been all year, with big hits, playing different positions.
Outstanding with 2 strikes, which is unique for a young player.
Talk about a guy with an idea of what he's trying to do with the bat.
John Booch there at the top, a longtime front office employee of the Cardinals. Michael Gersh there on the left. John Mozeliak on the right. Deal that sent Piscotty to Oakland and Munoz coming to St. Louis. Also Max Schrock to Memphis, and Memphis trying to win another PCL championship, a postseason championship. The 2-2 struck him out. That's 6 already for Clayton Kershaw. A point of emphasis recently, not necessarily going into tonight. It's going to be tough with Kershaw, but the Cardinals have what they basically say it's talking baseball before the game. It's hitters, pitchers, infield, everybody's involved. Coaches, some of the players refer to it as group therapy. Just to get some things out, talk about the game.
It's a great idea.
And the players are very vocal in these meetings, and one of the players a couple of days ago emphasized the fact that, hey, when we were going well and we were playing games and winning games, we're putting the ball in play. We weren't striking out. Let's get back to where we were. An emphasis on putting the ball in play. I'm all for that.
There is an absence today, and one of the reasons that meetings before the game are much better is because after the game, where the old timers, and I know I'm included in that group.
Little bouncer hit to short. Martinez 0 for 2.
We used to sit around and talk about the game and talk about how we could better ourselves, and it's a good way to improve. You improve by talking about it. Talking about it was first. Now they do that before the game. I think it's a brilliant idea by Mike Schild. If not brilliant, very, very savvy, and he has a hand on the game. I mean, it's something that I'm not sure any other major league team does, to my knowledge.
Well, they all have meetings concerning a pitcher, and they might be with the pitching coach, and the hitting is, you know, with the hitters and the hitting coach, but all together as one is what you're talking about.
Absolutely. Those things turn out to, you're going over the hitters, and Orlando Cepeda used to say in the Cardinal clubhouse, Red would say, anybody know this guy? Orlando said, I do, great guy. I do. Great guy.
You didn't get a lot of the fastball, curveball,
no.
Great guy.
But that's what a joke some of those meetings are. I was never big on meetings. Getting together with your pitcher and having an idea now, that's a different deal.
7 strikeouts for Kershaw, and the first 1-2-3 inning for either pitcher. As we check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, some of the Cardinals conceding today that there might have been a little bit more excitement in the room today. It's the Dodgers who are chasing them, and it's Clayton Kershaw. Some of the Cardinals that haven't faced Kershaw are well aware of his pedigree, and they respect it. But Harrison Bader told me, you appreciate it for a second, but you have to move on quickly. It goes out the window and you focus on your game plan. Jose Martinez told me, Kershaw is too good to try to put too much information in your mind about him. I think you have to keep it simple. Dan Martinez was saying one guy isn't going to beat Kershaw. They have to do it as a team.
There's a base hit to left for Kike Hernandez. Dodgers have put their leadoff man on in all 4 innings tonight. That is a nasty helmet, by the way, right there from Hernandez.
That helmet has traveled.
Craig Biggio, speaking of Biggio earlier, I thought he had the nastiest helmet in the game.
Yeah, he did. The best guys with the nastiest helmet.
Yeah. Here's Austin Barnes. Struck out first time up. It's now 7 hits for the Dodgers. Gomber has struck out 3. Here's an 0-1 pitch. 0-2. Cardinals turned a double play off the bat of Dozier back in the first inning. Ballpark has a smell and a feel of September. Nighttime hits, temperature drops. You can feel it. 0-2 pitch. Ground ball and a base hit. Looked to be a hanger there from Austin Gomber. Back-to-back singles against his curveball.
Yeah, sometimes young pitchers are not patient enough. They want to get the 0-2 out now. And sometimes if you go out of the strike zone, you get that the 0-2 pitch as an out pitch instead of trying too hard. You could see the reaction of Gomber. Now Clayton Kershaw up there to bunt again.
Tyson Ross up for the second time. Runners at first and second. And nobody out. Ross has been a long man. Made 1 spot start for the Cardinals in Kansas City. Corners charging in. Strike 1. Kershaw bunted his first time up. Back to Gomber, who threw a strike to the bag at second.
Well, the Cardinals had the wheel play on, where the first baseman and third baseman charge. The middle of the infield is left open, and Paul DeYoung, the shortstop, is toward third base. The problem with that play is it leaves the middle of the infield open if he decides to swing away.
He's swinging, and it's hit out to left, and a base hit off the bat of Kershaw. That'll bring a run home. 3 consecutive hits against Gomber here in the top of the 4th, and a 5-1 Dodgers lead.
I would imagine that's all for Austin Gomber. Hit around pretty well by the Dodgers tonight, and all those right-handed hitters, and it's a left-hander that runs him, and that's Clayton Kershaw, the pitcher.
Runners at first and second. Nobody out here in the 4th, and Tyson Ross will enter the game when we come back. To bring fans $6 and 60-cent tickets when the Cardinals host the Brewers September 24th, 25th, and the 26th. Get your Phillips 66 $6 60-cent tickets now at cardinals.com/P66. Tyson Ross in our Chevy call to the pen. Ross will have the top of the lineup. Gomber knocked out after 9 hits and trailing 5-1. Chris Taylor is singled to left and a run scored. Also flied out to right. And the first pitch, a ball. Ross in a role that does not get a lot of headlines, but boy, so important for any club to chew up innings, save bullpens.
That's right.
And many times he's kept the Cardinals in games. And the 1-0 showing bunt. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Very impressive, these right-handed batters against the left-handed throwing Gomber tonight. They hit a lot of balls hard.
Two strikes on the leadoff batter Taylor. The BP brighter picture. This 5-1 game. And that's Tyson Ross this season with the Cardinals. That 1 start against Kansas City picked up a win. And his record of 2-0 and a 2.21 ERA. 1-2 the count.
The big guy, Tyler Ross, about 6'6" and a half. Primarily fastball and slider. Nothing real fancy about his delivery and the pitches he throws.
Bigger guy is a understatement.
Yeah, he's a real big guy.
Man. The 2-2 instead of check on the runners.
Love a double play ball right here.
And the 2-2 inside, full count. Ross no stranger to the Dodgers. Year spent in the National League West with San Diego. And a base hit into right center. 1 run is in at least. Bader sliding for it to get it back in quickly. Stopping at third, Kershaw. Anybody else probably scores. It's a double for Chris Taylor. And it's now a 6-1 Dodger lead.
Chris Taylor kind of inside outing that fastball right down the pipe. Good play by Bader to corral it. But you're right, any other runner scores on that ball.
Still nobody out. Runners at second and third for Justin Turner.
Dodgers already with 10 hits in this game.
Yep. Still nobody out here in the top of the 4th. Turner is fly to right, doubled and scored. Different story tonight when the Cardinals swept the Dodgers last month. Late August in LA. First series sweep of the Dodgers since July of 2006. That year they won all 7 games. 0-2 the count. Right side of the infield is in. And it's 1-2. Reminder, we're on the air tomorrow at 6:30 for game 2. Jack Flaherty and Walker Buehler. Turner hitting .278 with 2 strikes, 4th best in all of baseball. And the 1-2 here, fouled back.
I think Jairo Munoz is like 5th on that group, 5th or 6th.
I think right now, if you're the Cardinals, you're down by 5, you're facing Kershaw. You've got to try to get extended at bats against him and get him out of the game. Somehow, some way, get to the bullpen to have any shot. Statistically, this is where Kershaw is essentially unbeatable. A 5-run lead with Clayton on the mound.
You said that staggering statistic earlier, 113-4 with the 3-run lead. Get your attention.
1-2 pitch by Ross. Hit down the right field line, foul. Kershaw will always be compared to Koufax. It's just the way it is. Two Dodgers, 2 lefties, 2 dominant pitchers. You saw Koufax. I mean, what do you think about the comparison?
Well, I think Sandy Koufax was a better pitcher than Clayton Kershaw. But Sandy Koufax, in fairness to Clayton, Sandy Koufax had to retire at age 30. Clayton is 30 right now. But their statistics are similar, eerily similar. Trying to have those for you when he goes back out there.
And the 1-2 out to deep center. Bader back near the wall with just enough room. Both runners will tag up. Makes it a 7-1 Dodger lead. Turner drives in his 47th of the year. That'll close the book on Austin Gomber. 3+, 9 hits, 7 runs. Walked 1 and struck out 3. 400th career run batted in for Turner.
Even the outs the Dodgers have hit tonight are hard and long.
Yes.
Yeah.
Manny Machado 2 for 2. Center field, another loud out. Another run batted in to make it 8-1. So Machado is driven in 2, scored a run, couple of hits, 2 outs, and an 8-1 Dodger lead.
Now the pitching for the Cardinals has been so good with the young pitchers that they have not seen a game like this in a long time, where they've been blown out in the first 4 innings. Obviously not saying the Cardinals are going to lose this game by any means, because teams have come back from a 7-run deficit. But the Dodgers, I mean, have pounded the ball through the first 4. And that's something they have not been doing over the last couple of weeks.
Exploded yesterday, but that was the first time in a while.
First time against Cincinnati this year.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to David Freese. 0-2 the count. 8-1 against Kershaw, and even Sosa and a rally squirrel may not help.
No.
The 0-2 and the strikeout freeze. They pick up 4, extend the lead. It's 8-1. But there's the great Sandy Koufax, the Hall of Famer.
Well, he was nightmarish, I'll guarantee you.
The comparison, here it is, what we were talking about earlier. BJC Healthcare Difference Maker. That's very similar, huh?
It's remarkable. Sandy, of course, retiring when he was 30, youngest player to be inducted into the Hall of Fame at age 35. If there is royalty in baseball, he epitomizes that.
You don't hear from him very often, don't see him very much. Pop in and out of Dodger camp in spring training. That's fouled back.
Boy, he is such an eloquent man.
Do you know him well?
In every way. I know him well enough. Yeah, played against him. Not that that was any entree, but since he was a good friend of Fred Wilpon's, and I worked for the Mets for 16 years, and I got to know him there better than in spring training and stuff like that. It comes spring training. But he's just a classy guy in every way. Very intelligent. Very smart.
You mentioned he's quiet. Was he always that way too, unassuming?
Yes, unassuming, and yeah, I'm just hanging with Sandy. You're not just hanging around, and you're not just here. You're Sandy Koufax. Now, come on.
And then conversely, at Don Drysdale. So your trips out west were a lot of fun.
They were. Well, I worked with Don Drysdale for a long time,
right,
with ABC Sports for 4 years. 82 through 85.
And then he did Dodger games, and he was there the night that Oral Hershiser broke his consecutive inning streak.
How about that? Oral in the ballpark tonight working Dodgers television.
And the 0-1 pitch. A beauty in there for a strike. There's Oral on the left. Remarkable year of 1988.
MVP of the division series.
Watch this. Holy smokes, what a play. Off of Kershaw to short, and then a barehanded gem from Machado. Wow.
And changing course to do it. You talk about a gifted man. That's Manny Machado.
One of the best plays of the year I've seen.
Well, only because he had to change routes, barehand the ball, and make a long throw with the bare hand across his body. That was sensational.
He had something on it, too.
Yeah.
There's Yadier Molina. And he lines out to third. The Cardinals go quietly here in the home half of the fourth. Inning number 5 rolls in. 8-1 Dodgers. Having really automatic closing situations, that could be a big loss for the Cubs. Francisco Pena takes over at catcher for Yadier Molina. And I don't think you want to look into that. I mean, it's an 8-1 game. You're going against Kershaw. Yadi back with the leg issue, so take no chances and probably back in there tomorrow.
Right. Makes all the sense in the world.
Here's Matt Kemp. Kemp, Dozier, and Kike Hernandez. Matt with an RBI single back in the first inning. 2-0. And a grounder that's hit to third. One away. Join Fox Sports Midwest and the Blues for the Enterprise Center open house. That's Saturday morning. Blues take the ice for training camp. Newly renovated Enterprise Center. You can stop by the Fox Sports Midwest booth to sign the Blues bench sign. Go to StLouisBlues.com for more information. Dozier, the only Dodger without a hit tonight. I did put in the request for you for Brett Hall to be here either tonight or tomorrow. My understanding is he's out of town, but I did try. Don't give me that look.
Well, I waited for your explanation. I'm a reasonable man. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, here's the deal.
For those who may not know, I've been waiting to meet Brett Hull for the last 5 years. I
That's
know
right.
Bobby, and I'd love to meet his son.
And apparently it's my fault that you haven't.
Of course it is.
They have these things called cell phones that you could even try to use. You have them. I've seen you use them. You've called me on them. And it works for other people, not just my phone when
Matter
you
of
call
fact,
me.
you found it when I lost it in Chicago about 3 years ago.
I sure did. Oh, that was a fun trip.
Oh.
We've had some times, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
It's been fun. Kike Hernandez with 2 outs. It's hard to believe this season is coming to a close. There are times when it just flies by. In August, when the team is playing so well, it seems like it's flying by.
That's really true.
And then if you're in Baltimore and you're 41 and 104, it can't get over soon enough. 41 and 104 for Buck Showalter. Red Sox already 100 wins. Clinched a spot at postseason play. 54 games above 500. Busy inning for DeYoung. Nice pick by Carpenter and a 1-2-3 inning. 8 pitches for Tyson Ross. Look at our Budweiser What's on Tap. And it's game 2 tomorrow. Buehler and Flaherty. Good matchup. Young pitchers. Buehler 6-5. Flaherty 8-6. And we'll come your way tomorrow at 6:30 right here on Fox Sports Midwest. It's Bader, then Ross and Carpenter. Bader struck out back in the 2nd inning. Colorado defeats Arizona. And that puts now the Diamondbacks 4.5 back. And the Dodgers, they start a 1.5 games out in the West. So not only chasing the Cardinals, but very close to the Western Division championship as well.
They've won 5 straight divisions in the left. In the West, pardon me, have the Dodgers.
1-2 the count.
Well, the left coast, I guess.
It worked.
That's right. That'll work. Unintentional, but worked.
Clayton Kershaw, one of those that has given back a lot of time and money with his wife Ellen, building orphanages.
He's like Wayno.
Yep. They do that in Africa and have helped out so many families. Home state in Texas. LA community. Another strikeout, number 8 tonight for Kershaw.
We talked about his delivery, the unusual delivery, that high leg kick, and then kind of flips that right foot out. Very unusual, but very effective.
And the batter is Ross. Cardinals with 3 hits tonight. Now I realize it's an 8-1 game, but you think about the Martinez at bat early on. Struck out against Kershaw. Ozuna dropping a ball off the wall and left. How about this? Deep left center, off the bat of Ross, at the wall, and it's gone. It's a home run. Tyson Ross with the homer. The Cardinals pitchers tonight are 2 for 2.
Second lifetime home run for Tyson Ross. And I'm telling you, he put a charge in it. Goodness. He never thought when he was traded to the Cardinals that he'd be called upon for a curtain call. But the fans want him up and out of the dugout. I don't blame them. Tyson too modest.
2 career home runs, as Tim mentioned, and that one off of Kershaw. Carpenter trying to bunt his way on. And he does.
Following a blast comes the blue.
StatCast AI powered by AWS in the home run hit by Tyson Ross against Clayton Kershaw. Big strong man and puts it over the wall. 8th bunt hit for Carpenter, 2nd most in baseball. And now Jairo Munoz 1 for 2 tonight with a double and a strikeout.
If he can pop one, the Cardinals are right back in it.
And a ground ball, base hit. Munoz 2 for 3.
Fastball right down the pipe. Munoz says, not by me. Clayton very upset about that.
Last home run, by the way, for Ross was hit in 2015, his first. Ironically enough, against the Cardinals. And remember the lefty, Tim Cooney. That's who he hit that one off of. Here's Jose Martinez. Munoz is now 8 for 12, 2 home runs, 5 runs batted in against Kershaw, Greinke, Bumgarner, Kluber, and Scherzer.
Oh, that's fabulous. Where'd you get that? That's great.
How good is that?
Oh my gosh.
That's from our friend Chris Tuno, working in the Cardinals media relations department, coming up with that gem.
Nice going, Chris.
There's not many that can say they've done that against that collection of pitchers.
No.
Here's a 1-1. Martinez chops it to the right side. Glove by Freeze. Bobbled. Everybody's safe and the bases are loaded. An error on David Freeze has loaded him up.
Once David dropped the ball, he still had time to get Martinez, but he rushed that flip. And it gets by Kershaw. Now the bases are loaded with one out for the cleanup hitter of the Cardinals. Almost have to be cautious in the way you describe it now, Danny, right?
No question.
But get a pop in this situation. It's a two-run ball game.
Bases loaded, one out. Ozuna at the plate. Ozuna, base hit into left. One run is in. Munoz held up. And the Cardinals have something going here in the bottom of 5.
What was that story you were talking about, how the players said put the ball in play?
Put the ball in play.
Martinez put the ball in play. An error was the result. Ozuna put the ball in play. Now we have a 4-run ball game, still only one out.
DeYoung 0 for 2. He struck out and grounded out.
Is that a 4 or 5-run ball game? Beg your pardon.
DeYoung out to center. Well hit. Runner will tag. That's Munoz to make it an 8-4 Dodger lead.
One thing the Cardinals can learn from this. When you're hot, what's wrong with swinging at the first pitch? Whoever came up with that with the metric system is wrong. If the first pitch is a good strike, hammer it.
Cardinals have done that on 3 of the last 5 that they've sent to the plate.
Yeah, thanks, partner.
You bet. And a power threat now at the plate in Jed Jerko. 0 for 2. Strikeout and a ground out. The play that he grounded out on is one of the great plays we've seen here at Busch Stadium. Off the glove of Kershaw and then barehanded by Machado to throw him out.
This spectacular play.
This crowd all of a sudden back into it too.
Yeah. You really got back into it after the Tyson Ross home run.
2 balls, no strikes. Francisco Pena on deck. Just a 3rd home run Kershaw is allowed to a pitcher other than Madison Bumgarner. 3-0.
Tell you, normally you wouldn't do this because even a 3-run home run, you're still trailing by a run. But I would do it here because Jerko is such a dominant fastball hitter. He's going to get a good fastball right here.
Three and 1. Awfully deep in center. That's Hernandez. And in left. A 3-1 pitch to Jed Jerko. Jerko out to left. A sinking liner. And it's caught by Taylor. All got started thanks to Tyson Ross, of all people. His second big league homer. It's now 8-4. Reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals are pretty good at bats there against Kershaw.
Yeah.
And Ross made it 8-2. Cardinals got a couple of more. He's done a nice job thus far out of the pen.
Usually, Dan, a home run serves as a tourniquet to an inning, and the runs stop coming, but not so with the Cardinals there. They picked up 2 of those 3 after the home run by Ross.
Here's Austin Barnes. In Kershaw's career, when the Dodgers score 8 or more, he's 39-0.
That's why he was screaming after that base hit by Munoz.
Now, they did lose one of those games, but he was out of the game at that time.
I see.
So it didn't go against him. And that was in 2010. The relievers allowed 8 runs in the 8th and 9th, but he was out of the game.
No control over that game.
Yep. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's the 6th home run hit by a Cardinals pitcher too this year. Michael has hit 2. Milwaukee and in Denver. John Gant has hit a couple. Carlos Martinez, his first in the big leagues. And then Tyson Ross. That's most in baseball. Six home runs lead the National League by the pitchers, and that's your Kubota power stats.
And that's none by Wainwright. Usually in the past, if Cardinal pitchers have homered, Wainwright has been
right
in the
middle of it.
Yeah, right.
Wainwright scheduled to go Sunday night. So Flaherty, Gant, and Wainwright scheduled in this series. 3-2 pitch to Barnes. Ground ball deep in the hole. DeYoung, tough play, and won't get him.
Paul had too much to do to try to throw across his body to get Barnes. No way.
Paul had a play the other night that was similar, that ended the game against the Pirates, where Cervelli
One hop to first base.
It's one of his better plays of the year.
Yeah. Had to go to the replay, and the replay proved it right.
Kershaw looks at a strike, showing bunt, and an RBI base hit, and a run scored back in the fourth. We're in inning number 6, and 5 of the 6 innings the Dodgers have had their leadoff man on. Nothing at 2. I think you're really going to like the next promo I tell you about, Tim.
All right.
It'll fit perfectly with your winter attire. As we all know, you love scarves.
Well, I like scarves if it's cold outside.
Well, this is about, you know, it's going to get colder here soon enough, so it'll fit right in that McCarver closet. Bunted back to, nope, it's going to be Pena who takes it. Now take a look at it. This is well, get you a start on your winter wardrobe right there. Look at that hat. Now if that doesn't say Tim McCarver, nothing does. That's Sunday, September 23rd. Courtesy of Cooper Tires. So what you get is that hat with flaps.
That might be a throwback to those squirrel caps we were talking about when we were in Detroit.
Speaking of squirrels, my man, he comes ready and dressed every game, ready to roll.
Ready for the Cardinal action.
And you are wearing a squirrel tie and squirrel socks tonight.
That is correct.
Now, did you pack that or did you have to go out and buy it? There goes a runner, and there is he out. Yes, he is. Caught stealing.
Good time to do it, or try to do it. And it was done by the catcher, Austin Barnes. Looked like he had a good jump. The throw from Pena was perfect. He had a good jump. Good quick tag.
If he didn't get him there, which he did on the helmet, he got him here.
Now he got him. Good reaction by Jed Jerko to get Barnes.
First runner caught stealing by Pena this year. So did you pack it or buy it?
No, these were gifts.
Okay.
One, the tie and the socks came from, I don't think I've ever had socks with squirrels on them. And that's not a shame. I'm glad that's been the case. I've never really had an opportunity to celebrate with squirrels on my tie.
I get it. Those acorns on there too.
Yes, everything's.
That's a beauty. Could be a McCarver scarf. Could be the squirrel tie. That guy is nodding in approval. It's 8-4. Baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. And the Cardinals last inning getting a home run by Ross, and then with the bases loaded, Ozuna delivers. DeYoung, a run batted in. Got the lead 8-4. Game summary. Kershaw still in. Machado 2 for 2. Is driven in 2. Gomber a short night, pitched into the 4th, could not record an out, and Ozuna has delivered. Francisco Pena again, first pitch swinging here against Kershaw. So Pena comes in for Yadier Molina, and at that time it was 8-1. So if you're just joining us and wondering why Pena, and you heard maybe that Yadi started, the thought process we believe with that Mike Shildt saying, look, don't take any chances. Kershaw on the mound down by 7. Get him out of there, get him ready to go tomorrow night.
Makes all the sense in the world.
Yep.
Pena's done such a good job filling in for Yadi all year. It's no easy task because you're getting behind the plate, few and far between appearances.
And Tim, you did that at the latter stages of your career.
But mine was a regular routine of catching Carlton every 4th or 5th day.
But still, not, you know, you're talking a routine of 4th or 5th day, but not the routine of what most baseball players go through, which is every single day.
Particularly if you're a catcher.
Yeah. It's a hard job. Backup catcher. I mentioned it, and I think it was, and you would know better than I, 3 or 4 days ago was your debut as a 17-year-old.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, that is truly remarkable. 17. Here's a 1-2. Hit to short. Machado with it, and he makes the play. I think one of the interesting aspects of Machado, and we've seen very good defense tonight. What do teams want? Do they want a third baseman, a shortstop? What does he want? Is it top dollar? Does he have to play a particular position? He wanted to play short this year, and we know he's an outstanding third baseman too. Those are all factors going into this offseason for him.
I think defensively, he ought to get his wish to play short. And if somebody.
That's a fair ball off the bat of Bader. You know he's thinking too. And in standing up at second base. And with that, the Cardinals pull back Ross, and Tyler O'Neill will be the batter.
Just inside the line, swinging at the first pitch. We've seen the Cardinals do that over the last several innings. Just fair. The way Bader runs, no way to have a play at second base.
There were some that wouldn't even try to make it to second.
No.
And
trailing
some
by
that
4.
are sliding.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, really, his speed is elite.
He's fun to watch.
So here's O'Neill. He had a big home run in that series against the Dodgers late to tie a game up as a pinch hitter. That pitch just a bit high, and you can see Barnes, the catcher, trying to have a civil conversation with the home plate umpire. Looked around just a bit and then kept talking. The home run that was hit by Ross was the first by a Cardinal reliever since 2008. And I remember that night, Mark Worrell, and he did that in Washington in 2008 on the first pitch, and that was his first hit.
That was when the Nats were in the old ballpark, wasn't it?
No,
or
new
no?
ballpark still.
No,
Yeah, they
no.
just gone there. So we all were shocked, to say the least. The 1-1 to O'Neill. 2 nights ago on a 3-0 pitch, Tyler O'Neill with a home run.
That last fastball had some anger behind it from Kershaw.
Gets the sign he wants and a 2-2 pitch to O'Neill. Again, just a bit high.
Got a curveball there. 4 runs ahead. He's going to get the fastball to hit here. You got to think that.
Three-two, tap foul. It's almost like he quick pitches you too a little bit.
It's that's very well put.
I don't remember him doing that.
I was going to say something about that earlier, but I noticed the same thing you did. I don't remember him doing that either.
Pitch count at 85, and Kenta Maeda warming up in the bullpen for the Dodgers. He was very good against the Cardinals. We saw him at Dodger Stadium in relief. Good speed at second base for the Cardinals in Bader, and a 3-2 pitch. I think he was ready for it.
Home running around park.
He hits some balls, by the way, in batting practice, and I get it. It's batting practice. But they're just some guys, when they hit them, it's a different sound, a different look. How hard he hits it. He is so strong. And when he barrels one, I mean, you better watch out.
Now, the players even talk about it. In a room full of bodies that are professional, his stands out always.
8th pitch coming up here from Clayton Kershaw. Good at bat by O'Neill. A 9-pitch at bat.
Man, it's one of the better at bats he's had all year.
The 9th spot in the Cardinals order. 2 for 2 with a home run and been on base 3 times.
If you had said that before the game, that in the 6th inning, the 9th spot would have walked, homered, and singled, you would have thought the Cardinals would be ahead.
Bet the ranch.
Right.
No chance. But here they are with runners at first and second, 1 out, and Carpenter at the plate. It's interesting here where Machado is talking to Turner.
Yeah. I think he's telling him he's going to be behind Bader at second base, but
he also could have said, hey, look to your left.
Yeah. It was odd.
It's good speed. First and second, 1 out. First pitch swinging. Carpenter pops it up left side. Turner over. Playable. Makes the catch. And it brings in Munoz, who is 2 for 3 with a double, a single, a run scored, and a strikeout.
I'd take him out of the game right now.
Go with Maeda?
I would not have him pitch to Munoz. That a guy was awfully tough against the Cardinals out in LA when the Cardinals faced him. They did sweep the Dodgers, but Maeda standing out. Kent Maeda, good pitcher, right-hander.
And he was really good.
But we've seen Munoz with tremendous power.
There's strike one.
I'm not sure the Dodgers know how powerful a hitter Munoz is. I really am not. You know, you look at his numbers, 15 doubles, 8 home runs. That's playing sparingly.
1 ball and 1 strike. And time called. We gave you those numbers before against some of the best pitchers in all of baseball, and Munoz, terrific numbers. Right around a 700 average. That includes Clayton Kershaw, 2 hits tonight. So be pitch number 92 from the lefty. Munoz hits it to Machado on a hop and a force play at second, and the threat is through. The Cardinals strand a pair, and we head to the 7th. 8-4 our score. Off of Clayton Kershaw, this our Nissan drive of the game. So Mark Worrell, the last Cardinal reliever until tonight to have a home run. That was in Worrell's first ever big league at bat.
Oh, really?
First ever.
You didn't say that. I didn't think. But if you did, I missed it, partner. Sorry. I usually hang on your every word. Now you know that.
You sure about that?
Yes.
You promise?
Whether I'm here or away, I do.
Well, I know when you're away because I get.
You get texts.
And then I check my voicemail and I get screamed at. What are they? I don't get it. Why in the sick? I don't understand this. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Then another half hour goes by, and Dan,
I'm hanging on your every word. Now,
I love this Munoz. Now he can play.
He can play, and I've told him that.
Click, and then another half hour. Let me tell you something. So I know you're watching.
I love Gotta love the game, man, like you do.
It's the best. The strategy, the fun, the length of the season, the heartaches, the ups, the downs. You'll get it in a baseball season, boy.
Everybody talks about the length of the game. That nonsense you hear creep into somebody's conversation about. I don't even pay attention.
I don't either. I don't worry about it. And as I've always said, you could go around the stands tonight and say, do you think this game's long? You bored? And you know what you'd get? Are you kidding me? I'm enjoying it. I'm here with my family. Got my kids here. I'm watching a future Hall of Famer in Clayton Kershaw. He comes through town once a year. We're lucky we watch him.
Had a hot dog.
Got a chance to see Yachty play.
Yachty back on the list.
Love those shots. Dads with their son and daughters.
I love it.
Yep. Two-one pitch. And a fastball outside, 3-1.
I was 9 years old for my first Cardinal game. A Little League experience. The team, we stayed at the Melbourne Hotel, which is on Grand and Lindell. I'm not sure it's still there. I'm not sure a lot of things are still there. This is back in 1950.
So you're going to Sportsman's Park.
Yeah. Eddie Stanky was the manager. I think it was 50. Might have been 51.
There's a strikeout for Breviov. So Turner strikes out, in words with the home plate umpire.
Justin complaining about that pitch. That ball looked like a strike.
Right on the corner there. Could have gone either way. Goes the Cardinal way. And it brings in Machado. I remember at Old Busch Stadium. Well, I say old, I mean Busch Stadium 2, and walking through, and when you would walk through there, it was kind of dark. The little hallway leading from the concourse to the stadium. You know, to your seat. And I just remember how dark it was, and then the light exploded, the sunshine, and seeing at that time it was turf, but how bright it was, and the smell of the stadium. I always remember that.
And the vendors, and hearing the vendors.
Yep. Here's a 1-0 pitch. I also remember being hot, and it got hot at Busch Stadium too. Not that it doesn't get hot here too.
No, but with when they had the artificial turf.
Oh boy.
I mean, that heat would just resonate, Tim, from that turf.
And it was a cookie cutter, so it seemed like it trapped the air and the muggy feeling off the river. But that was part of it.
Yeah. Well, in essence, the parks are underground.
Right.
I mean, they're a couple of stories down from street level.
I think this ballpark plays extremely fair. Maybe even a little bit to the pitcher's side.
Yes.
I think that's all you want. You want to see it play fair. And
yeah.
First time I went to Yankee Stadium, I walked out to Monument Park, and at Fenway Park, walking through the monster and seeing all the signatures inside the scoreboard, and going to the top of it and looking at Fenway Park. And I love going to Dodger Stadium, the third oldest ballpark now in baseball, which is hard to believe.
Yeah.
But it's pristine still. It's beautiful. San Gabriel Mountains beyond the wall.
Played in the old Coliseum.
Did you really?
In 1961, yeah.
Machado hits one out to center. Bader back at the wall, and it's gone. Manny Machado to center field on a 3-2 pitch and a home run. Number 34. He's had a big night.
He's some talent. There aren't a lot of things that he cannot do on a baseball field. Power to center field. How many shortstops can do that?
Very few.
Very few.
Cody Bellinger will be the batter for David Freese. Home run number 205 for the Dodgers this year. Second only to the Yankees. This Dodger lineup, boy, they've got some weapons. Bellinger coming off the bench. Yasiel Puig. Chase Utley, who has announced his retirement. This will be his final year. Jock Peterson on their bench. Max Muncy, a guy that has emerged.
Has 32 home runs.
Right. Yasmani Grandal, a switch hitter and a catcher. A lot of depth. Lineup and on their bench. Bellinger has struck out 6 times in his last 10 plate appearances. The 2-1. It's a high fly ball into right center. Bader under it to make the catch. Want to buy or sell tickets at the last minute? Get the StubHub app and you can grab 100% MLB verified tickets up until the first pitch. Sell your extras to another fan. Get the StubHub app today. StubHub, official partner of the Cardinals. Here's Matt Kemp, and he's 1 for 3. And a base hit out to left. Kemp has 2 hits tonight, and the batter will be Brian Dozier. Dozier grounded into a double play, struck out and grounded out to short. Are you still a fan, or have you ever been a fan of interleague play?
Yeah, I like it.
I bring it up just because I do like seeing the Giants and the Dodgers come through town a couple of times, or going out west a couple of times. And now, don't get me wrong, seeing Albert Pujols come to St. Louis next year,
next June,
it's going to be an event. Seeing the Yankees come through, or Boston, that's enjoyable. Some of the bigger names or bigger players that come through. But I do miss seeing the Dodgers more than we do. Into the shift. There's Munoz, and he makes the play. Dozier hitless in 4 plate appearances. Machado a home run to make it 9-4. brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Ford, going further so you can. Just a gorgeous night, the early start time. So we're in the bottom of the 7th, 9-4. And again, a reminder, tomorrow on the air at 6:30. And with the Dodgers owning a 5-run lead, Kershaw out, Chevy called to the pen. Kenta Maeda, he's appeared in 30 games. 20 of the 30 have been starts. And so Maeda in here for the 7th, and he can give you multiple innings. Alex Verdugo takes over in right field, and Bellinger at first. Well, you mentioned it earlier, Tim, that Martinez has been a little bit off, and the numbers bear that out with 18 strikeouts, 41 at bats this month for a guy that for the better part of the season, if he made an out, wasn't striking out. Might be a fly out or hard hit ground ball, but not a lot of strikeouts.
And it wasn't that trouble with the outside pitch. That one right there.
Do you think he's off the plate more? We talked a little bit about that in Detroit.
Maybe. I think that was your thought, and I don't disagree with that. He's almost, his left foot's almost out of the box.
Pointed that out the other day.
Starts, yeah. Even though he does have longer arms, he's 6'7", long arms to reach that outside pitch. It's awfully tough for him to do it because with 2 strikes, you got to shorten up. He has not been able to do that recently.
There it was again. 394 the average on inside pitches, and outside pitches he's batting 206.
It's disturbing because it's so clear.
Yeah.
Often things like that are not that clear, but his problems are right now.
Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. There's Marcell Ozuna. He's driven in 2 tonight. 1 out and nobody on. And the first pitch taken for a ball outside. So tomorrow, 6:30 pregame show. Jim Hayes always has a live guest and all the news here at the ballpark. Jack Flaherty and Walker Buehler. Ozuna hits it out to center at the wall, and it's off the top of the wall. Play backed up by Verdugo, and the right fielder gets it back in quickly in a ball that was smoked off his bat. It's Kike Hernandez. He's a bit shook up in center field.
That might be the hardest ball that Ozuna has hit. At that level, he's hit home runs out to center field that have been long, but not a line drive like that over the center fielder's head, who was deep to begin with. Pounds into the wall. Fielded by Verdugo. But a resounding double from Ozuna.
105.2 miles per hour off the bat. DeYoung, first pitch popped up, foul territory, and out of play. What a deal. You're sitting in the front row, one of the best seats in the house, and you get a souvenir.
Ultimately, one of you ladies, nice play.
Yeah. Last time we saw a foul ball that close in that area, there was a government official there, and we were in New York.
I remember that.
Oh, so do I.
What did your Twitter light up?
My phone started smoking. DeYoung, little flare into shallow right center, drops in for a hit. Ozuna waved in, bobbled in right just a bit, and it makes it a 9-5 Dodger lead. Ozuna tiptoeing around third base. Thought he might be held up, and that's off the end of the bat and an RBI.
He had a good jump from second, running with the pitch. It's the one thing you could do as a base runner. But he did hesitate around third. I didn't catch that. The one thing you do as a base runner, if you check the outfielders, you have a pretty good idea. Of course, you got to be a little more cautious when you're trailing by 5 runs. That's the thing.
There's Jed Jerko, 0 for 3 tonight. Crowd tonight 40,997, 40,997, and the Cardinals over 3 million for the 15th consecutive year.
That's great.
One ball and one strike. Lefty begins to throw in the Dodger bullpen. Mike Myers is throwing for the Cardinals. Been 23 hits combined in the ball game and a 9-5 Dodger lead. There's a base hit out to left. DeYoung to third. And out.
Real bad play. Paul hesitated. You're trailing by 4 runs. Got to take baby steps.
Yeah, down by 4. You can't have that happen. Three hits in the inning against Maeda, and it brings in Francisco Pena.
What you're thinking about being thrown out at third right there, that erases the hit.
Gives him an out, races the hit. Takes the wind out of your sails.
Yes.
Cardinals had something going. We've talked about it before, but baseball just an odd game. For instance, tonight the Orioles late with a 1-run lead over Oakland. Oakland 89 and 57. Baltimore, as we talked about, 41 wins, and they might pick up a win tonight.
Sure.
You just don't know.
No.
Inside 1-2. Tony La Russa always used to say, after 160 plus games, you are who you are. It all comes out in the wash, so to speak. And he went. Pena strikes out. Cardinals pick up a run. ball game. And our Chevy called to the pen, 9-5. You know, Mike Myers now, we know, Tim, he is a reliever. This is his role going forward. More than likely in his major league career. Cardinals really like him out of this particular spot. His major league debut came on Sunday Night Baseball, so a nationally televised audience. And it was against these Dodgers. He hasn't seen them since. And it was one of the statistically toughest outings in the history of the game. I mean, he was roughed up. It was kind of thing with, you know, there was some that were worried, do you bounce back from something like that? You know, your debut, you get beat up.
Yeah.
Everybody you're thinking in the world is watching and seeing it, but obviously he has bounced back and found a home in the Cardinal bullpen. Kike Hernandez, and ball one.
One thing I'd like to see Mike do is build his repertoire of pitches around his fastball more. I mean, this guy can get it up to 98, sometimes 99 miles an hour.
He's hit 100.
It was 97 there, and that's not his best one. I'm not saying get rid of the slider, just saying be more cautious in using it as your out pitch. To me, it's still his fastball.
Tapped off the plate, and a base hit for Hernandez.
Nothing anybody can do about that.
No. Yasmani Grandal, switch hitter with some pop. The Cardinals had a situation in the series against the Dodgers in LA. And this just gives you maybe a little idea of what goes into a manager's mind, Tim. And we talk about it and we say, here's a situation. Could go A, B, C, sometimes D, E, F. I mean, there are a lot of options.
Sure.
But at that time, he had 21 home runs and only 2 from one side of the plate, obviously 19 the other. And it was the home runs and the power from this side of the plate. And Mike Shildt went with Carlos Martinez, and we thought, why not bring in a lefty, force him to go to the other side? And Mike Shildt said sometimes you have to look at the numbers and they are telling, but you have to have a feeling that at times in your gut your guy is better than that guy or has a good night, has a good feel. And he said we knew that Carlos had a good feel for his changeup, and we felt that that would neutralize Yasmani Grandal. What happened? Change up, ground ball, get out of the inning. Doesn't always work, but it's not just.
It's a method.
Yeah, and my point is, it's just not cut and dry. Well, the numbers say do this. That doesn't happen all the time. Oh, 0-2 the count on Grandal. Hernandez the runner at first base. That's the one
thing. Clearly the numbers don't dictate all the time.
Right.
You know, that's the thing about the metrics. I mean, you've got to have a feel for the game and a feel for what's happening down on the field. The metrics used from up here are just, you know, just that. Metrics used, but without having a feeling for the game.
Tony La Russa.
So a combination of the two would be fine.
And it was interesting. Couple points. Tony used to always point to, hey, you guys can talk about what you want up there and talk about Grandal and should I switch him around and
of course
the various things. He said, but never forget, I always know more. I know how a guy feels. I know what's going on in their personal life. I know what's happening in that clubhouse. More, you know, you guys have a great idea.
Put. That's great.
But I've got a little bit more information as to why I make a decision. And Mike Maddox, in explaining analytics when he got to St. Louis, I said, are you an analytics-based guy? And he said, I don't frown from the analytics at all. I look at him all the time. There's a strikeout. And his point was, and I thought it was really well put, he said the analytics, more times than not for me, back up the eye test. A good example would be the guy has a good curveball. I'm seeing it as a good curveball. And then I go look at the spin rate or the break and look at the numbers that are there. And that backs it up what I'm seeing. It's just another way to look at it. And I thought that made a lot of sense. There's Alex Verdugo, took over in right field for the Dodgers.
The problem I've had with the metric folks is that they immediately jump up and say you're wrong, and that's the end of conversation. I don't like that. I don't like discussing things with people like that who use that approach. And often that's what, at least from my personal experience, that's what I'm met with. No, that's wrong. Oh, hum. It's almost it's an imperious approach to the way. I've been around the game 60 years, and
you know a thing or two.
I've paid attention from some awfully smart people over the years.
There's a 1-1 pitch. And a grounder that's a base hit into right. Hernandez will stop at second base. All Sunday starting 2 hours prior to every home game. Enjoy games, prizes, free North Star ice cream treats while supplies last in the Ford Plaza, presented by Prairie Farms. For me, as a young guy getting into the business, I did my first game at the age of 23. I was so lucky that Tony La Russa allowed me to come in when the clubhouse was closed and sit in his office and ask him questions day after day after day after day. I'm sure he was completely sick of it, but he did it. He'd be answering mail and paying bills and signing autographs. All his mail was piled up, and I'd say, well, no, why did you pitch that guy last night? I don't get it. And then he'd give me an answer, and he'd say, I'd like to manage against you. That's what he'd say all the time. Being around George Kissel, latter stages of his life, traveling with the Cardinals. It's back to Myers. He'll go to second and got him. Took a chance, and it paid off there for the out. And runners at the corners.
Verdugo can run a little quicker than I thought. He used his 99-mile-an-hour fastball to get Verdugo.
Now, you were taught by George Kissel. I just got the chance to pick his brain, which was an education in itself. It was awesome.
No argument here.
2 outs and 2 on. Tony La Russa wanted George with us and traveling, and really he would talk about George being such a great sounding board on decisions. What are you seeing, George? Why, you know, should I have done this? Should I not have? And we like to get to the ballpark early, so especially on the road, George would get to the ballpark early, be dressed out in the dugout about 2 o'clock. And he'd walk around the stadium and had his fungo bat.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was an education, to say the least. Here's a 1-1. 1-2 the count on Turner. And to finish the thought, you drive with George or with Red Schoendienst in spring training and be on a cart, and he'd tell you to stop. And I mean, it could be a single A player, it could be a major league player. and teach. This is what you're doing right. This is what you're doing wrong. Dan, stop the cart. I got to talk to you. All right. Whatever you say. But it was awesome, Tim. And you lived it.
I did.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Turner.
I did at the highest competition there is in the game. And not only that, but pennant winners and winning teams. There's a lot more pressure on, and don't let anybody ever tell you there's not. A lot more pressure on playing for a winner than there is on playing for a loser. That may sound simplistic, but it's really not. A lot of people don't know that because a lot of people never played on a winner.
Did you feel the pressure in 67 and 68 to win with those teams and that collection of players?
Well, you don't feel it. I mean, it's the pressure of everyday baseball. Yeah. Yeah, you feel, there's always pressure, but it's good pressure. Something you want. Something you crave.
The strikeout for Myers. He strands a pair. We're midway through 8.
You're
and
good
the Cardinals
at it.
down.
You're good at it.
Nine to 5. The Dodgers have the lead. Maeda, his second inning. Bader, a couple of strikeouts and a double tonight. Greg Garcia at the on deck circle. And the first pitch is strike. 26 hits in this ball game. Cardinals with 11. Dodgers with 15. See it on the left forearm of the catcher. That's Yasmani Grandal. It's like a QB in football. Little cheat sheet there. And it's something that Tim used to use back in 1961.
Yeah, right. I mean, if a catcher has to look down at his left arm to see what pitch to call, he's not paying attention somewhere along the line. And that goes for outfielders who check their cards too. And there are some Cardinals that do that. I don't understand that. A little application of Not a member. Pretty colors, though.
Always putting the positive spin on everything.
Not always. Oh, boy.
So Greg Garcia, the batter.
What happened to your cheat sheet now? Do you change it? Does somebody bring one out in the middle of the inning? Hey?
Well, you know what happened the other night?
What?
A pitcher had one.
Oh.
And Joe West threw out the cheat sheet, and then Major League Baseball the next day said it was okay that pitchers could use it. I'm just relaying the story.
Oh, man.
I'm just relaying the story.
I understand. So.
Ferguson coming in when we come back. Into the ball game for the Dodgers. There's Chevy Cole to the pen. Did make 3 starts. And the Cardinals pulling back Greg Garcia. Patrick Wisdom will be the batter, and he had a base hit late in the game yesterday in a real key spot. And so now Wisdom with 3 home runs. The pinch hitter with 1 out in the home half of the 8th.
I think Patrick made it a 1-run ball game with that hit yesterday.
And put the tying run at 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So 1 out and nobody on. And ball 1. Many of the players in contact still with Stubby Clapp and the coaching staff at Memphis. Find out how they're doing in postseason play. Matched up with Fresno.
I was going to say the Pacific Northwest. I don't know the team they're playing, but I know they lost last night. Right?
I think they've split the first 2. Mm-hmm. And Fresno is the AAA affiliate of the Astros. Here's a 1-1. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
They're the Fresno Grizzlies, I believe.
Correct.
And that's a lot better than the Memphis Grizzlies in the NBA. There's not a Grizzly, I don't think, near Memphis. Last I checked.
No, sir.
No.
Memphis Chicks would have worked. The high fly ball lifted to right field.
Watching the 2-0 while your friends go for the steal? We understand. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
So here's Carpenter with 2 outs.
Didn't mean to demean the franchise in my hometown, the Memphis Grizzlies, because they're very, very popular item in Memphis. Very proud of their NBA team. I just pointing out that, and not the first to point out that Grizzlies are nowhere near Memphis.
Franchise that began in Vancouver, so you can understand why.
Of course, they kept the Grizzlies.
It's kind of like the Lakers.
Yeah.
Thinking
right.
of Los Angeles. Well,
or the Jazz.
There's
the
another
Utah
one.
Jazz.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Out of play, 0-2.
Yeah, they used to be the Minnesota Lakers because Minnesota is the state, the land of 10,000 lakes.
Hence,
the
Lakers.
Lakers.
In reality, there's over 12,000 lakes in Minnesota.
I didn't know that.
Ken Hawk Harrelson says he's the first to wear batting gloves.
I've heard that. I'm not sure if that's true.
There's a 1-2. And Carpenter lifts a high fly ball out to left. And the catch is made by Taylor. Sends us to the ninth. And it's 9-5 Los Angeles. Cecil in the pitch for St. Louis in our Chevy call to the pen at a scoreless inning last time out, and his 38th appearance this season.
That scoreless inning coming yesterday against the Pirates.
Manny Machado has not struck out in his last 30 plate appearances. Longest active streak in Major League Baseball. And the 2-0. It out of play, 2-1. Budweiser plays of the game. It's been a big night for the Dodgers shortstop. 3 for 3, home run, double, single, sac fly. He's driven in 3, scored 2. And the 2-1 lifted out to left. And Ozuna with the catch.
It's the first ball that Machado has pulled tonight. He had the double down the right field line, the home run to center field. And what I'm trying to point out, with hitters like that, part of their success comes from being very difficult to defend against. You don't know where to play him.
Not predictable.
You know, you're not predictable.
Right.
You don't know whether he's a pull hitter. You don't know whether to shift on him. Hits the ball all over the place. Guess you could say he's ubiquitous in how he hits the ball. You're giving me a John Miller look.
Ubiquitous. Amazing. I hadn't thought of that. There's a base hit to right, and here we are. And it's a 9-5 Dodgers. And Bellinger with a single into right.
You'll get a chance to see John Miller
can't wait.
Giants, with the Giants coming back into town.
I can't wait.
He is wonderful. As you say, you could listen to him all night long.
I want him to start reading my grocery list. a milk, a little Coca-Cola. If you can mix in a salmon, a steak, and the Matt Carpenter salsa and schnooks. Thank you.
Oh, that gets me, and you know it. That's wonderful. Oh, he does a better John Miller than John Miller. Impersonation is the greatest form of flattery, and we are both huge fans of John. He is
the best.
Fabulous broadcaster. Always drops over to find out the latest on the Cardinals, always doing his job. And what a vocabulary, my gosh.
Such a nice man.
Yes, he is.
He's done all kinds of sports too. He did soccer for years in various sports and just knocks it out of the park.
Always.
And the 2-1 pitch to Puig. And a shallow right. And Puig retired. So with 2 outs and a runner at first base, Brian Dozier, he's still trying to get in the fun for the Dodgers. Dozier tonight is 0 for 4.
Excuse me, Danny boy. Grounded out 3 times and a strikeout for 5 outs, 1 into a double play.
And a strike.
Dodgers came out immediately in this game and ceded their land. They said, we're coming after you, and they did with the Cardinals tonight. Cardinals hope to, not that this game's over, Cardinals certainly hope to get behind on the heels of Jack Flaherty tomorrow night, though.
Still 3 outs to go. It's 9-5 Dodgers. Here's 9-5. LA with the lead. And this season against St. Louis in 2 appearances at Dodger Stadium, the Cardinals got to him late. First game, couple of home runs hit. And then Paul DeYoung in game 3. That was Jansen just coming off the DL. He's had the heart issue. Really scary.
Yeah, I know.
To the point that he could not even travel to Denver. Where Chevy
Too
called
high
to the
to
pen.
Mile High City.
Yeah.
Former catcher, but the best reliever in the history of the Dodgers, who've had a lot of them. 264 wins, most saves in Dodger history.
There's Jairo Munoz, and that pitch taken for a ball. The Dodgers pen is blown 27 leads. The 7th inning or later, 3rd most in baseball. 4 of those have been by Jansen. So 4-run lead, not taking any chances here, trying to get him right. And when he's right, boy, he's tough. A ball and a strike on Munoz. Dropping down to a knee, 1-2.
That was a good cutter right there. That's primarily what he features, is that cut fastball. Got very, very strong hands. Cut fastball, of course, from a right-handed pitcher, cutting away from a right-handed hitter.
I would say best defined by Mariano Rivera.
Best ever. Who is eligible for the Hall of Fame next year.
That's a lock.
That is a gut lock.
The 2-2.
A real problem, as a matter of fact, is in Cooperstown. They're very, very concerned about the overload of Yankee fans. They don't know where to put them all with Rivera coming.
When's Jeter up?
I think the next year, but it could be next year. It could be with Rivera. I don't think so. I think it's Rivera and Jeter, believe. But a real problem for
sure. And it's a 5-year wait, and then
right
voted upon. We're told Jeter 2020, so that makes sense. You got Rivera 19, and then Jeter.
Right.
Three-two pitch. And a leadoff walk.
It all started so innocently.
I think one of the great calls in the history of sports by my partner, Mariano Rivera, against Luis Gonzalez, Game 7, Arizona, and the Yankees. And you all but predicted it. You said, look, with a cutter and a left-handed batter, that's going to be in on his hands. You may see a jam shot into left field.
Hit to where the infielders were.
So your shortstop may want to play a few steps back, and your left fielder comes in, and it was a magical premonition. An educated.
Thank you.
I mean, that was. You don't understand. I mean, that takes guts to say that, and to say, hey, here's where I would put him with the season on the line in the World Series. It was awesome. And that's another ball, 2-0. And that's why, sir, you are in the Hall of Fame. Many reasons as to why. 2-0 the count here on Jose Martinez. 2-1.
Talk about a left fielder who is giving a right-handed hitter all of everything to his right. That's the left fielder in your shot, folks.
Ball in the corner. Munoz could score.
Oh, yeah.
Inside. I mean, he's missing by a lot on some of these pitches.
A lot. I mean, you got to think if you're Dave Roberts of getting somebody up if he walks Martinez, don't you?
Absolutely. Martinez, a base hit into right. Runners at first and second and nobody out. Now Jansen did pitch yesterday. Before that it had been September 5th, so he's going in back-to-back days and hasn't done that in quite some time.
That was really a tough pitch for Martinez to handle, and he finds a hole on the right side. All the Cardinals can hope for is to get the tying run up there, or the potential tying run. So if Ozuna gets on, then it's an interesting situation.
And Paul DeYoung at the on-deck circle, and he's already homered against Jansen. And just like you're talking about, there's still nobody up and throwing.
Yeah, which is really surprising to me, Dan.
Way inside.
Talk about
Ozuna.
putting all your marbles in one basket. My gosh.
Well, if he throws a ball here, I would think you have to get somebody up.
You've got to get somebody up.
Just to protect yourself.
Yeah.
Got 11 relievers. Ozuna 2 for 4 against Jansen. And the 1-1. Oh boy. 1-2. That cutter usually is breaking 6 inches with downward movement, and I'm not sure we're seeing that downward movement.
No.
And I'm not sure we're seeing the 6-inch break either. Ozuna steps away, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
That's probably that card on the forearm that Grandal is looking at right now. Unbelievable.
That'll find the seats out of play. "28 hits in this ball game, in a game that was started by Clayton Kershaw and Austin Gomber, now up to the bullpens.
First 3 guys hitting for the Dodgers came around to score in that first inning.
Time called again. The 1-2 pitch. Into shallow center. Infield fly ruled and called. And there's one away. Paul DeYoung back in Los Angeles late August, and this home run. He gets Jansen here with a couple of runners on. It was 10 pitches yesterday for Jansen. And the last time that he went in back-to-back games was early September, and now they want to talk it over. Dodgers have just one mound visit remaining. Jed Jerko at the on-deck circle. So a couple of guys that have hit homers this year against Jansen. DeYoung at the plate, Jerko on deck. Good cutter there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That was his best cutter that he's thrown. Yeah.
And a right-hander now up and throwing in the bullpen for the Dodgers. Let's hit out of play. Pedro Baez and the lefty Scott Alexander.
Cardinals once again just get the potential tying run to the plate. That's their aim right now.
Two and two the count. Three and two the count. Jerko on deck.
Absolutely do not send the runners in this situation.
Oh boy. Isn't this something? Bases loaded. And now the tying run comes to the plate. Jed Jerko knows Jansen from their days in the West when Jed was with San Diego. I remember him saying it after the home run in LA. It's pretty simple. He's going to throw you a cutter. You know it's coming. Make the adjustment. And he's 5 for 12 against this right-hander with a couple of home runs.
Hit it before it cuts.
And a strike. Francisco Pena at the on-deck circle. You would have to assume the Cardinals would pull him back and go back to the bench. The game continues. Might see Big City. The 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's why that left-hander's warming. for the Dodgers. Matt Adams lurking.
13 balls, 13 strikes. And the 1-1. They're all loaded up. A count of 1 ball and 2 strikes on Jerko. Slowly hit. Out there onto first. Throw gets away. And 2 runs will come in to score. It's now 9-7.
Yeah, more importantly, the Cardinals have their potential tying run at the plate, and I'm sure Matt Adams will come out of there.
So here's Matt Adams to face, for the moment, Jansen. You know, Tim, think about if you're a manager, this is your guy. This is your horse in Jansen on the mound. He's your closer.
I thought of that. They're trying to prepare him as much for the playoffs as they are to win the thing. And they really don't have, I mean, to me, you've got to beat a Cardinal team first to get in the playoffs. So it's very difficult to put the tail behind, the tail ahead of the mane or something like that. I was trying to make a horse.
Let the cart before the horse.
Not that one. I think you got to make a move. You got to bring the left-hander in now, don't you?
4 for 6 with a home run off of Jansen. And what happens to sliders or cutters that don't cut? They just spin. And for a lefty, it's in their wheelhouse.
Yeah, that's right.
So Ponce de Leon taken out of the game, and Adolis Garcia will be the pinch runner. And Big City, through all this tonight, represents the tying run. Isn't this something? And a ground ball that's fair. A step on the bag, and the game is over. 9-7. The Cardinals able to bring up the tying run to the plate, but falls short. 9-7 the final.
Ball hit hard down the first base line, planned to prevent the double for the Dodgers, and they win it 9-7.